Now, I know what you're thinking. What's so special about Benjamin Franklin? I mean, he looks like the guy from the Quaker Oats box or somebody's hippie grandpa. But let me tell you, looks can be deceiving, because this rather goofy-looking chap with a quaint pair of glasses on the tip of his nose and sporting a rather rotund belly was perhaps one of the most remarkable, brilliant, influential, and yes, even brave men in human history. What he and his fellow delegates did in this very room in the Continental Congress, signing the Declaration of Independence, proves that more than anything else. This is Benjamin Franklin, one of America's founding fathers, a revolutionary of fiery passion, a scientist, a business strategist, a librarian, an abolitionist, and a philanthropist. He was also a diplomat to foreign nations, a writer and humorist blessed with a brilliant and cutting wit, a musician, an inventor of ingenious devices, a governor, and a statesman. All of this and more, all rolled into one lovable little fat man and then stuffed into a nice pair of breeches and white stockings. This is the incredible story of America's true jack-of-all-trades, Dr. Benjamin Franklin. Benjamin Franklin was born in Boston, Massachusetts on January 17, 1706. His father, Josiah, was a candle maker who was married twice and fathered 17 children. The youngest was Benjamin. As he described himself, he was the youngest son of the youngest son 5 generations back. Now, you can almost imagine him, can't you? Zipping around the streets of Boston, a young, inquisitive child with poor eyesight, the runt of the litter, but he was always searching for adventure. From an early age, young Ben Franklin displayed an almost unquenchable thirst for invention. There's a story from Ben's childhood that foreshadows the man he would ultimately become. He and his friends were swimming at one of their favorite swimming holes when suddenly Ben began to swim at almost supernatural speed. Only when he pulled himself to shore did he display the real source of his aquatic abilities. Now, he had attached flipper-like sandals to his feet and paddle-like gloves to his hands. On another occasion, he even attached a kite to himself, and the wind pulled him across the water while he floated on his back. Already at such a young age, Ben Franklin was experimenting with novel devices. It would be a love affair that would last a lifetime. Ben's early interest in kites and in electricity developed into endeavors and future inventions that would benefit the entire world. Once, when a traveling showman came through town and demonstrated static electricity, Franklin was amazed, and he and his friends began to experiment with electricity like no one else had done before. He even developed words associated with electricity like positive and negative, and words like battery and charges. Ben Franklin also invented the lightning rod, which he knew would attract lightning and then diffuse it harmlessly into the ground, thus sparing whatever structure the lightning rod was attached to. Ben's most famous discovery involving electricity was performed with an audience of only one other person, his son William. Turbulent clouds gathered over Philadelphia in June 1752, when Benjamin and William released a silk kite into the sky during a lightning storm. Franklin had attached a metal wire to the top of the kite and tied a key to the bottom of the kite string. With lightning flashing all around the kite, Ben noticed the filaments of the kite string beginning to bristle. He then extended his knuckle toward the key at the end of the string, and an electric spark jolted his body. The electricity had traveled from the lightning down along the kite string, thus shocking him when he touched the metal key. Now, others had previously hypothesized a relationship between lightning and so-called electric fire, but Franklin was the first to design an experiment to prove the connection. His experiment showed that electricity was a force of nature and, like gravity, could have enormous benefit if it could be tamed and made practical. Franklin's scientific experiments made him famous in America and a celebrated hero across Europe. It's time to roll.
Amazing.
Another one of Franklin's early endeavors to serve his fellow man was the establishment of the Philadelphia Hospital to help those in need. Here we are at the hospital that Ben Franklin helped create in 1751, the first one of its kind in what would be the United States. When the hospital was founded, Franklin chose an interesting logo for its seal. It's a picture of the Good Samaritan from the Bible, caring for and placing the injured stranger on a donkey. On it was the verse from Luke 10:35, "Take care of him, and I will repay thee." Almost hit the old man. Soon after his departure from the printing business, Ben Franklin moved into politics and diplomacy. His most notable service in domestic politics was his reform of the postal system. As the friction between the colonies and the United Kingdom continued to worsen, Ben Franklin struggled to keep the peace, representing the colonies' interests in London and Paris. Eventually, Franklin knew that independence was the only course of action for the struggling colonists. With a heart weary, but a spirit unbowed, he returned to Philadelphia and was promptly chosen as a member of the Continental Congress, where he assisted in drafting the Declaration of Independence. And later, coming out of retirement in 1787, Franklin was appointed as a delegate to the meetings that would produce the United States Constitution. Serving his country yet again with distinction, Benjamin Franklin became the only founding father to sign all three of the major documents that laid the groundwork for the nation that would become the United States: the Declaration of Independence, the Treaty of Paris, and the U.S. Constitution. I'm here at Christ Church Burial Ground in Philadelphia, where Benjamin Franklin was buried. He died on April 17, 1709, at the age of 84. He had lived an incredible and action-packed life. Long, too, because at that time, the average lifespan was only 35 years. And despite his extraordinary achievements, he still thought of himself as an ordinary individual, one who trusted the common man and was comfortable with the idea that it was the everyday citizens that made America strong.